Hello, I'm Rahul from the Robotics Network, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the West India Regional and how teams are applying strategies of high arcing shots and double-sided intakes to be effective short zone cleanup robots. Check out more on this episode of FUNalysis.
This video on Fun is brought to you by our viewers, supporters, members, and also in partnership with the following. DECODE Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to Studica.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts. True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interests, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first.
So to start off, this match is the final match of the CV Ramalan West India Regional Playoff Match number 10. On the Red Alliance, we've got Team 20871 Eureka and Team 22985 Paradox. On the Blue Alliance, we've got teams 33829 Robotics and Team 19013 G-Force. And the first thing I'm going to want to take a look at is this extremely high autonomous from the red side. We're going to see a 26 ball autonomous come up, and the first part that comes up here is just the extreme arc of their paths that the Red Alliance takes. We've seen a lot of teams try to have these beeline drives from the far zone, and those have also had a lot of success, but the Red Alliance here on both the short and the far launch zones are sort of taking these very high arcing shots, which seem to actually land pretty consistently in the goal without bounce outs. And I'm wondering if that's because they're shooting at a particular spot or if they have some sort of counter rollers, but it's something that's really interesting that I think teams should look at and not just be extremely going towards the backboard shots. We see those shots super high arcing, and they immediately are up to intaking that first spike mark that Red Alliance. Now, as the match continues, we're going to see them almost immediately intake those third and second spike marks, and now there's been 8 seconds in autonomous, and that classifier ramp is almost completely full. And I think that's absolutely crazy to me, is that we're already having overflow within 8 seconds of the match. We can see there's only one spike mark left so far. All the other spikes and those set of artifacts near the human player zone have already been intaked and shot into the goal without almost any misses. As autonomous continues focusing on the red lines, we once again see those super high arcing shots, and we see that Team 20871 Eureka is sort of trusting that as their partner Paradox opens the gate, artifacts will roll into the corner for them to intake. And I think going into higher levels of competition of the season, as in this match, we're going to see teams really delve into that approach where the closed zone robot opens the gate and scores a lot of artifacts through that, but also lets a significant amount roll to the corner, and the corner robot for the far zone just trusts that there will be artifacts in there for them to intake. Now, as we continue to play autonomous, once again, it's just absolutely insane how they're able to get a 26 ball autonomous. We can see that the Red Alliance is also intaking from the gate directly and letting some roll to the corner and letting some directly go into that closed zone robot. Now, as we head into Teleop, the main things I want you guys to keep a lookout for is how robots are sort of developing into these roles. And I've sort of described this in a few previous FUNalyses, but we can see that, especially in the Red Alliance, Team 20871 does a really good job with their double-sided intake of playing the role of an extremely good cleanup bot. Now, the first thing we see in this match is that Paradox goes immediately to open the gate, but we can see that the Blue Alliance is sprinting over because they know that that's a penalty zone where if Paradox tries to intake directly from that gate, the Blue Alliance can get penalties. So the Blue Alliance has very smart drivers, and this is something that I've seen almost all high-level teams do, is the cognizant mark of a high-level team is if they have really good drivers who know the game well, who can know how to manipulate penalties and not get penalties to their advantage. So we can see them, as soon as the Blue Alliance is there, they sort of get out of there to avoid penalties. And this allows them to in their first cycle, push that Blue Alliance robot that's shooting from the tip of the near zone, while towards the far end of the close zone, we can see that Eureka is sort of developing into that cleanup bot. There's artifacts near the goal, so they're going to use their double-sided intake to almost immediately get one that's in front of them and get one that's behind them. And I think that's where a double-sided intake can really shine this season, and it's with these cleanup bots in the close zone. And we're going to see that happen throughout, again and again throughout this match. We see them intake that one from the front and one to the back, and they quickly go to the shoot all three of those. Now, the next thing we see is that with 15 seconds having passed, we see that the robots once again sort of get into their flow state. We see at the blue lines, the far zone robot is going back and forth from that human player. Eureka, the one near the gate, is going gate to shooting into classifier from the close zone and picking up any artifacts that are nearby, miss, rolling around. And the other two robots are sort of competing from the same human player zone, which once again is penalties. Has a high option for penalties for the red alliance in terms of receiving points, because that is the red protected human player zone. So the blue alliance has to be safe in ensuring that they are not getting penalties there. Now, as the match continues, we'll see that once again, Eureka is intaking from that gate, and the blue alliance sort of recognizes that that's a vulnerable spot for Eureka because there's penalties, so they're going to quickly go there, but Eureka's going to realize that they're nearby and immediately sprint out of the way. And I think that's another hallmark of a really good close zone robot, is how fast they're able to get those gate intake cycles off. I think teams should definitely be practicing and hammering in those gate cycles, because it's not just about reducing how long your cycles take to increase your overall amount of cycles. It's also reducing the amount of time you're prone to any penalties or high penalties, which can absolutely swing this match. This match ends with a score of 477 with almost 150 points in penalties that are given to the red alliance, which makes it like a blowout rather than a close game. Now, as the match continues, we're going to once again see that Team Eureka is doing an extremely good job of cleaning up any artifacts that are just lying around in the field. Those underlined artifacts, we're going to see them quickly get that 1, 2, then turn around and use their double-sided intake for that third one. We'll watch that again. They get that 1, 2, turn around for that double-sided intake for that third one. And that just shows me how well practiced their drivers are at using both of their intakes. It's very clear that they don't have a bias on either side of their intake. They're extremely successful in intaking from either side with that drop-down system that we've seen. Now, Eureka's going to go and shoot those three and continue to intake from the gate. And once again, that blue alliance robot keeps coming by every time Eureka is near the gate to try to achieve penalties. It's clear that their drivers know that they can gain penalty points that way, but Eureka knows this, and they're going to get out of the way. And only until the blue alliance robot is gone, then they're going to go. And we're going to see that the Eureka drivers do a very good job throughout this match of pivoting. We see that the Blue Alliance robot is trying to get penalties by forcing them into the blue secret tunnel zone. So what does Eureka do? They go to their human player zone and continue their cycles almost uninterrupted. It's very clear that their drivers are trained to be understanding of the match situation at hand. So they're going to quickly go to that human player zone, and they're almost back right where they've been in shooting near that goal point to get those really good cycles off. Now, for Eureka, they're going to continue cycling that gate as we see them here once again, and they're doing a really good job of limiting how many balls go past that gate. We can see that every time they intake, they're almost intaking the first balls, and they don't let many roll past. They only let a few out and roll, and that's really good because that limits how many balls are available for that Blue Alliance green robot, and that's just a really high level strategy to me, and it is able to hoard balls because every time you open the gate, you are giving balls to a protected area of the Blue Alliance, even though you may be able to get those very effectively as Eureka's doing. They're every cycle they're ensuring they leave as little balls as possible for the Blue Alliance, and that's why they are having such a successful season thus far. Now Teleop's going to continue to play out. We're going to fast forward a bit, but a few cycles from Eureka really stands out for me here is that they immediately shot these three, and they already know what three they're going to shoot next. They've got these three next, And this is why they're such a good close runs robot. Their drivers are not waiting for the artifacts to land in the goal. They're not waiting to see if they bounce out or something. As soon as they shoot, they're immediately focused on their next intakes. Even if they might have been seeing these artifacts before they're shooting, where they're going to go next. You're going to see them quickly intake this one, that one, and then use and shoot those two. And then they've got another one directly in front of them. And that's going to allow them to almost clean up this entire near zone of artifacts through this like very effective cleanup strategy. They're going to once again open the gate, and while the other Blue Alliance robot, I haven't talked about them much throughout this match, but we can see they've been cycling through the human player zone, and that's been very effective because every time the Blue Alliance robot opens, they're not being as careful about letting as many artifacts out. We've seen there be a lot of artifacts in their own human player zone, which makes intaking cycles really easy and consistent. Now, for Eureka, we're going to see them continue to do that cleanup strategy. They've got these two balls right nearby. They're going to quickly intake that purple and green right after shooting and shoot those immediately. And we can notice one strategy they do is they don't always wait for 3 artifacts. If they get 2 and they're near the goal, they'll shoot them and move on. That's a thing that I think teams can definitely take from is you don't need to always have 3. If you get 1 or 2 and you're near the goal and there's no artifacts otherwise nearby, just shoot them and move on to the next point. Next artifacts to go, especially if you're in that close zone type role that Eureka is filling here. Now, Teleop's going to continue. I'm going to fast forward a bit. Now, the one thing we're going to see really stand out from Eureka is if we look at their side of the field, there's no artifacts in that top right corner. There's almost no artifacts anywhere nearby. And only then is when Eureka goes to that opponent human player zone to intake from that clump. They're only intaking from there once they've cleared their entire vicinity of artifacts nearby. And that's what stands out to me is they're not focused on the fastest intake cycles because even though those human player cycles might be really fast, they're really effective at cleaning up, which allows them to make every shot that they've missed because if it bounces out or any artifact that's rolling around and significantly limits the amount of artifacts that the other alliance can access. We're going to see them quickly intake from these 3 and then go to score them. Now with 30 seconds left in the match, the teams are going to sort of continue to fulfill these roles with Paradox on the red alliance going from the human player and Eureka once again doing this cleanup strategy of any artifacts near that goal whatsoever and then opening the game. We're going to see them actually continue to open the gate deep into the endgame period, which is something that I think teams have tried to not risk because they want to maximize their motif points even if they're not sorting. But I think that given that a full classified rack is only 9 artifacts, teams can definitely have their last gate open be very late. We see the last gate open for the red alliance here is at around the 12-second mark, and that allows them to really get a few last cycles in before going to get that park. And then one last thing in this match before the final score is that the Blue Alliance has to be more careful in avoiding penalties because this is an immediate double park because they're contacting the Red Alliance robots in their park zone, but they get away from there and go back to their blue zone. The final score was 477 to 228 with huge amounts of penalties given to the Red Alliance in terms of points, but the Red Alliance did win this match, and it really shows how effective these cleanup style bots have been, as Eureka currently has a 10th ranked OPR in the entire world. Thank you for watching this episode of FUNalysis. Let us know in the comments if you think a far zone robot or a closed zone robot is going to be more effective as the late season progresses, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos like these. And signing off, this is Rahul.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interests, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first. Studica Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to studica.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts.